Hey everybody, I had a little bit of technical difficulties. So we are here in a new video, and hopefully everybody can find it and join me. So today we're going to do a live chat and talk about using tarot in Spellwork, and specifically for the new moon, because that's usually when I do any of my witchy things. So I am going to just double check and make sure everything's working. I see a couple of people in, so say hi, say hello. Let me know you can hear me, that everything's going okay. I'm taking out my outline. Hey, Naya. Hi, Champagne. How you doing? Oh, here we go. Hey, Megan. All right, cool. Cool, good to hear. Okay. So I'm going to start out by doing a little definition. Hey, Darren. A little definition. Why I do this type of spell work, and some other information in there. So one of the things that I do these spells for is so tonight is going to be prosperity and business related for myself. But they can be done for anything. If you're looking for love, or if you need to find an apartment, or if you need to you want to lose weight, those kinds of things. You can do and tailor these to anything. Naya says she's binge watching the originals. I haven't gotten into that yet. I'm gonna try it. I like vampire crap. Anyway, so you could tailor this to anything. You can pick whatever thing you want to craft your spell around, and you could do that thing. So as far as rules, there aren't any. You can do whatever you want. And I'm going to give you guys some tips and some book recommendations and some different ways you can tailor them to you. So the first thing that I always take into account is moon phases. I'm laughing at you guys in the chat. Anyway, so hey, Marcy. So the first thing I always take into account is moon phases, right? I either do spell work during the full moon or during the new moon, like it is tonight. So during the full moon, you want to do things that will result in a decrease. So if you want to lose weight, or if you want to get out of a bad relationship, or if you want to, I don't know, pick something, right? Anything that you want, that you have now that you want to decrease, you would do during the full moon, because as time goes on, the moon is going to decrease. And so you're going to, decrease the energy that you have put around the spell. And during the new moon, it's the flip opposite. If you want to grow something, or if you want to increase something, you do your spell during the new moon. And then as the moon gets fuller, it will increase. So those are my rules. That's it. Did that make sense to you guys? Do you guys do something similar? Tell me. Give me some comments. Talk. Chat. I'm going to wait for you guys to comment so that I can, then I can move some links around. If I could count on one hand all of the times I watched a show because tarot was in it, it would be lots and lots and lots. Okay. Thank you. Naya agrees and Marcy makes it up. Yeah, I mean, I kind of make it up too. So anyway, so that's the first. So the first thing I talked about was why I do it. When I do it is during the different moon phases. And then the next thing I decide is how I'm going to use tarot and what tarot cards I'm going to use. So I kind of stick to book definitions only because I think for myself, I feel like knowing that something, hey, Kelly, knowing that something already has a meaning attached to it makes it easier for me to believe in it, if that makes sense. So for what I'm doing tonight, I picked 2 cards. I picked the 3 of discs, and I picked the 3 of cups, and these 2 are going to go together. One's for work and one's for abundance. So in a book I was reading today, this said the actual description for this was paid jobs. And I was like, yep, that's what I want. So that's why I picked this one. And then the 3 of cups, abundance, is pretty self-explanatory. So that's the next thing I do. I do have a couple of decks. I'll show you guys real quick. I have a couple of decks that I set aside specifically for spells. I chose the Thoth ones today because I just felt like using them. But I keep this deck, the Hardy Tarot, specifically for Spellwork because I like the images. It's vaguely Thothian, and it's got some, hey Heather. It's got some cool images. You can kind of get into the pictures if you like to meditate, or if you like to sit with the images. I'm not a huge meditator. I kind of suck at it because I'm ADD, but the other thing I do is I have like a baggie of like extra cards that I've gotten with decks. We were talking the other day in the Fortune's Wheelhouse group about the extra cards that came with your orders from Mel, and I have so many. So a lot of these are those, but these are just like extra bonus cards I've gotten. I get these from Tarot BG. They're just really pretty prints. Oh no, these are from Collect Tarot. Whenever you order from them, I have my Patrick Valenza ones that come with, like, he sends a card all the time with your decks, and then all the decks come with extra, and then they come with the Oracle cards too. So I keep those in there. And then these are these are just random cards. Mostly they're major arcana. So I would only pick these if I was doing something super huge, which I don't generally do. Because I kind of let that stuff take care of itself. But I do have a couple of decks and some random cards that I use specifically for Spellwork, or specifically for meditation, that kind of a thing. Naya says, first Marcy said, what deck? That was the Hardy Tarot. I don't like to read with it. It's too much image for me to read with, but it is I found it works really, really well for Spellwork. And the only reason I'm not using it today is because I'm using the really cool card holder I bought. Maybe either Naya or Darren, you guys can put you could put the link up to her shop, because I don't have it handy. I was trying to find it and I couldn't, but I have this cool card holder with a quarter cross on it. So I'm going to use this for the actual spell, like to hold the spell card. Sometimes I use little easels from Michaels. Oh, links aren't allowed. Oh, well, shows how much I know. Naya says I use the Quest Tarot for Spellwork. I don't even recognize that deck. I'll have to look it up, Naya. Quest Tarot. Yeah, I have no idea. It doesn't matter. I can always link it later. I will actually, if they let me edit the description box, I'll put it in the bottom in case anybody really likes it and really wants it. So anyway, that's how I select my cards. Personally, I select by definition meanings or book meanings, but it could just as easily be done with intuition, how a card makes you feel, a picture on a card that you, say you want a car and you use a picture that's got, some modern tarot decks have cars. What's that really terrible deck we hate, Darren, that's got the van on it? That one's awful. But you could use, say you need a car, you could use the Chariot. You could pick it however you like. It's just got to have some personal meaning to you. And it's got to be sort of specific. I don't know how much magical theory you guys are into, but the general theory is the more specific, the better. Because you could wish for it to rain like in The Craft and a pipe will burst, so there's all kinds of, specificity things. But so that's how I pick my cards. I pick them by definition, meaning you can pick them by intuition, however you like, whatever floats your little magical boat. So the next thing I choose is correspondences. And a good tarot nerd like me loves books and loves correspondences. If you guys have ever watched any of my videos on this channel, or if you are a member of Tarot Nerds and you have seen me do live videos there, I talk about books all the time. I read until I need Coke bottle glasses like the ones I'm wearing. So I have some books. That's my next step. Heather says Money Spell has a recurring theme like when I popped in. Yeah, everybody needs money, so that's the one I usually do on the new moon. So the first set of correspondences I think about is crystals, because I like pretty rocks. And I collect them just like, lots of other new agey people. I've got my little collection of rocks. So some books that I use for that are, this one is like the cheesiest looking book, but it's actually the best book on crystals probably ever. First of all, it's got color pictures. Oh, that's okay, Naya. I'll find it and put it in the description. Thank you guys for trying. I hope you didn't get up and go all the way over to your computer for that. But thank you if you did. You're the best. I'm trying to put my feet up, but my dumb cat is on my ottoman. And he's so big, he takes up the whole thing. Anyway, okay, back to books. So the first book is, like I said, really, it's kind of pretty cheesy, but the Crystal Bible, it is his throne. He's such a jerk. So it's really funny when you film, things aren't backwards, but when you do a live stream, it's backwards. So sorry, guys, the words are backwards. But it's called the Crystal Bible. It's got tons and tons, pretty much any crystal that I would ever use is in here. And then it gives you all kinds of information about it, how you can use it. And then it does in the back, actually, it's got a little crystal divination thing. It's got a little spell. It's a love spell. Because, everybody loves those. No pun intended. And it gives you information on crystal grids and all kinds of stuff. So they've got like a Bible, like a little Bible thing. There's a tarot one. Oh, it's not backwards? Oh, cool. That's cool. It's backwards in my viewer, so So I thought it was. So then I pick a crystal. Okay. And then the other book I use for that is this guy. Love is in the Earth. This book is huge. You could probably kill somebody with it, but this has got even more information, and it's got like if you can't find the name of a crystal or a stone in this book, it doesn't exist or somebody made it up. Like this is literally, I know there's a couple volumes, but this is literally like the definitive. It's a little woo-woo, and that's cool. But it really does have a lot of information. It tells you, the astrological signs of all the crystals. It tells you what number it vibrates to, and it tells you all kinds of stuff. What ailments it could help. And yeah, literally, if you cannot find, I've had this book for like 20 years. Literally, if you can't find the stone in here, it doesn't exist. So those are my two stone books. So Darren asked about astrological correspondences, and I'm the worst. I don't know anything about astrology. I'm the worst. Although Naya and I were talking about the new moon being in Leo and the things that it could mean, or you could use you could base your spell work around. So Leos are courageous. They have strength, all of those different kinds of things. You could pick your tarot card based on that. Darren says he pretty much hates when any book calls itself a Bible unless it's the Bible. Well, I do too, but that book is really good. What's everyone's go-to crystals? If you could see my altar, Naya, maybe I'll take, once I do everything, maybe I'll take the camera down so you guys can see it. I have a ton of smoky quartz and a ton of citrine, which are really close to each other depending on the color gradation. I keep amethyst, it's my birthstone. I keep obsidian. I keep rutilated quartz around, plus I have my skulls. So my go-to crystals are anything that are shiny. What do you guys use? Do you have ones that you keep around all the time? Also, telling Darren not to be rude is like, it's like asking him not to breathe. Amethyst, always. Why amethyst? I mean, I know why I keep it, but wow. I have to pick on you. It's fun. Oh my God, Solomon, you take up too much room. Okay. So so I was talking about astrological correspondences. And I was looking through my books. And this is one I've gotten that that I haven't used a lot. But if you wanted to pick a certain planet, or you wanted to find the astrological correspondences for something, the rulership book is excellent. It divides things by planet. It divides things by sign. It divides things by things. It's got a giant glossary. You basically just look up anything you want, and it'll tell you all about it and what signs to use, or what planets to pray to, whatever you do. So this is another really good one too. I think I got this. I don't think I paid a lot for this. I get all of my books used on Amazon because I'm cheap. Except for these crystal books I've had since before there was an Amazon. This is my, I'll show you guys my smoky quartz collection real quick. I've got this guy. And then this is technically a smoky quartz, but it's bordering into citrine. It's freaking giant and very heavy. Oh, it's like, if you can hear it thud, it's giant. And then I keep rutilated quartzes too, because I like them a lot. The rutylation is black tourmaline, so it's good for sucking out bad energy. Okay, so am I making sense? Is this kind of like interesting? Is there, or do you guys have questions? Anything like that? Oh, I have a giant selenite too, Naya. I've got a small candle holder, but this is my giant desert selenite that I keep. I love this guy. You guys can find, I'm going to say the word wrong. It's a lapidary, I think. Lapidary specimens. They're big. They're usually not expensive because they're not being sold by like woo-woo crystal sellers. They're being sold by scientists, and they're usually very pure. Yeah, Darren, in the next couple of books I'm going to talk about, it'll give you, I'll give you more information on that. Labradoodles really raise the vibration. Naya, I have I have a ton of lapis because of my main altar construction, my deity construction. So if I get to show you guys, I'm burning myself. Hang on. If I get to show you guys the actual altar after everything's set up, you can see all of the. I have a ton of lapis around, lapis and carnelian. I love fluorite too. Fluorite's really great. So back to Crystal Correspondences with Magic. The next two books I'm going to show you guys have some of the information on that, but crystals have different properties, so you can use those properties to change the vibration. You didn't even know, Naya. I've got like underneath my altar is a cabinet, and I've got like boxes of stones. You bought a citrine, Marcy. I have such trouble finding good pieces of citrine. They're very expensive. That's why I kind of blur the line between citrine that's almost smoky quartz because it's cheaper and I'm cheap. Okay, so I'll show you guys the stones that I'm going to use today. These are my stones that I use in my new moon spell all the time. So they sit in salt when the spell is not active. Excuse my hiccups. So I get a piece of pyrite. Pyrite's fool's gold. So it's it's good to have for spells like the one I'm doing because I don't know, tricks the spirits into helping you. I don't know. It's just one of those things. If you look up like money spells or things like that, this fool's gold is always a good one. And I don't have a chunk of real gold this big. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing the spell. And then the next one I use is jade. I've got 3 big chunks of jade. And jade is, first of all, it's green. So you have color association right there. And I'll get into that when I talk to the next couple of books. And then jade is traditionally held and carried for luck, and it is held and carried for prosperity. So that's why I use those stones. I also have, I almost forgot about these. I also have in my little salt bowl here a few cut stones that I got as a present. These are like cut gems. I have 3 citrines and 1 peridot. So they're really tiny, so I don't know if my camera is going to show them to you. But I've got that guy. The other 2 are just they're the same. They're just citrine. And then the peridot. And the peridot doesn't have necessarily any other association other than it's green. Naya, I think I remember remarking on your carnelian. And Heather says some citrine, but they're cut into beaded hearts. That's really cool. You're gonna have to show that to me, Heather, next time I see you. Little pirate chest of quartz Sean got you in PA. That's cute. Okay, so those are the other little crystals I use. Okay. Next, a couple of books that I want to talk about. So, this book I got not too long ago. I haven't read it. I don't really read it straight through. I just use it for correspondences. I mean, one day I'm going to, because there's a ton of shit in here. This is called The Magician's Companion. It's got every table you could possibly want. It's got, and of course I have Post-its in it because you guys know me. It's got sigils. It's got Enochian tablets. It's got alphabets, tons, and like every magical alphabet. And I'm gonna talk back about magical alphabets in a second and how you can use those as I break a nail, because fab. And then the things that I have marked in here that I use a lot. Tarot suit attributions. I can use words, guys. Tarot suit attributions. Yeah, this book is pretty great. Runes, because I also read runes. So I will actually, I didn't pull a rune for today. I might do that too. And then the alphabets I use, and then the deities aspects by rulership. So that's a handy thing to have if you are searching for a specific deity to use as a focus for your spell. I only have one that I use all the time for everything, so I don't switch my deities up. But if that's something you want to do, it has that in there as well. And it's got literally every other chart that you could possibly think of. Like, I can't even tell you. It's got geomancy, it's got astrology, it's got everything. Tree of life, that kind of stuff. All kinds of Kabbalah, everything. And then the other book of charts I use is 777. Because this, if you can get through all of the ramblings of Crowley, has a lot of great stuff in it too. And then once again, bookmarks. This giant table of correspondence in the front has got everything. It's got Hebrew letters. It's got all of the names for the Hebrew letters, that kind of a thing. It's got a section on plants if you are into herbalism, which I used to be. I have a ton of books on them, but I don't usually use plants in my spell work. So I didn't, but I haven't marked because it's interesting. What else? 777 has a thing about precious stones in it. It's on page 102, Darren, in case you wanted to check it out. It tells you, it actually has precious stone attributions of the Sephiroth. So specifically, if you're doing Kabbalah, there's stone associations there. Words are hard. I've only had one cup of coffee tonight, guys. And then perfumes. It's got a section for scents. So if you're the type of person that wants to have some perfume or some incense to burn, it's got those scents in there too. So 777 is great to have just on your bookshelf. So I wanted to talk really quick. I talked about magical alphabets. One thing I learned really, really early on in my magical career, so to speak, was to, if you're going to write something down as a spell and use that as a, use that written piece in part of crafting your spell, it's very handy to use an alphabet that you are unfamiliar with. One that you don't write in every day, one that you don't know how to conjugate, one that you don't speak, those kinds of things. Because what it does is it takes your focus and concentrates it a lot. Actually, I think in the last episode of Fortune's Wheelhouse, Susie and Mel talked about something like that. They talked about putting, deciding something that you were going to do definitively. So like, I think the example they used was putting, your left sock on before your right sock. And to think about that and how doing that kind of creates a mindfulness. And so it's the same kind of thing, but using an alphabet that you don't know. You have to really think about what you're going to write. You have to really think about your spacing. You have to really think about how you're putting the letters down on the page. So that's another thing you can do to add. I don't usually do written spells, but if I were to, that's what I would do. I would pick something pretty. I usually use Thebian because I think it's nice looking, but there's tons of other ones. You can do all different kinds. Okay, so correspondences. Hey, Exanthia, did I say it right? Did I get it right? Did I remember it? I'm glad you joined us. Yes, I remembered. I get so proud of myself because I have like terrible memory. So I'm trying to make it better. And so when I do remember things, I feel really good. Okay. So I talked a little bit about scents. I don't have any incense right now that I would put with this particular spell. So I'm going to skip that part for my spell. But you could pick, you could do whatever you like. There's tons of charts online. Like I said, there's a chart in 777, and you can find that information anywhere. So the next thing that, let me stop since we have extra people. I'll kind of do the rundown. So we talked about why I do what I do, just because I like to, do magic for things that I need, things that I want. We talked about when, during the moon phases, doing spells during the new moon like tonight for growth and expansion, and spells from the full moon for shrinking and reduction. Then I talked about a little bit how I pick my tarot cards for my spell. I said that I specifically do it from book definitions because if somebody else said it, then I believe it better. And that's just me. You could use intuition. You can use pretty pictures. You can use whatever you like. It doesn't even have to be a tarot card. It could be a picture that you like. If you want to take a vacation, it could be a picture of the place you want to go. Those kinds of things. Heather says, when in doubt, Nag Champa. Yes, Heather, your nephew destroyed all of our Nag Champa. There are pieces of it strewn around. So I don't have any of that right now. But that's a good bring up. All right, since I can't put my feet on my ottoman because of Solomon, I'll sit on my foot and that'll be more comfortable. Okay. And then I talked about correspondences. I showed a couple of books off, and I showed the crystals that I use in mine. And then I had a thought to use something else, and I forgot what that was. But that's okay. Anyway, so the next thing is candles. I always use a candle. Heather, he has everything now, not just the joy, but all of the stuff and all of the toys and everything. So I'm talking about Heather's my sister-in-law, by the way, guys. So that's why I'm talking about my son. Anyway, so the next thing I do is I pick a candle. I pick candles for color. And the one I'm going to show you is already been burned a little bit because I used it, but it's because I'm cheap and I refuse to throw them out and get a new one until this one's done. So I picked a green one. For my spell, you can, and I just put it in a holder because I don't inscribe them, but you can inscribe them too. Something you might want to inscribe them with are astrological symbols, or Really any symbol. I was gonna pull down the Penguin Dictionary of Symbols, but I thought that might be overkill. That book is freaking huge. But you could, you could do letters out of here like I was talking about. You can, script whatever you would like into it with just, a pin or a knife, whatever the safest thing for you to use is. Don't cut yourself inscribing candles. But I don't do that. I just pick one that's the right color for me. And then I use that. And so that's it. So putting it all together is just basically, I sit, I kind of quietly, like I said before, I don't really meditate because I'm not a still person, but I will just kind of sit quietly and think a little bit. I will put all of the components together. I will light the candle and I will just sit and sort of wish for what I want. And that sounds really simplistic, but anything that you do like this, spell work, prayers, any whatever you call it, it's all a wish, right? Naya says, I use bells for sound if incense isn't available, as well as water essence sprays. Yeah, that's good. I don't usually think about I don't usually do the 4 elements, but because I usually do the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, so I call my elements that way. So I don't necessarily add all the different elements, but that's something you could do too. Tibetan bells. That sounds kind of cool. I don't own anything like that. I'm gonna have to look them up. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. I do place other things on the table, like I have, along with the stones, I have some coins as a physical representation of exactly the thing that I'm trying to manifest. So I just have some random coins, and they sit in salt with all with all of the stones when I'm not using them as well. So I'm going to put this together, and then I think I'll take the camera down if you guys want to see what that looks like. Ooh. Ooh, dropping crystals. That one would have left a dent somewhere. Okay. Okay, so that's that. I set it up. And I'm going to see if I have enough slack with this to show you guys. Don't get sick. Don't mind my hand. And there you go. That's how I set it up. That's the rest of my altar. That's my skulls. That's my rose I got today. So there you go. So that's it. Nice and simple. I keep it pretty simple because I feel like the more I pack into it, the more I have to concentrate on. And I like to keep it very kind of small amount of things for me to worry about vibrationally, if that makes sense. Let me know what you guys think. I have so many skulls, Megan. I don't even know how many I think I have more than I have over here. They're just kind of all over the place. All right, let's see if I can fix this camera. Darren says you'd be the opposite. You'd fill it with all the corresponding crap. I have found that simple is very effective for me. But, if you like putting a million things, that's cool too. Oh yeah, lots of Babylon. Babylon is my deity of choice. In case I never really talked about that, I don't really talk about it much, but oh yeah, Naya says I use oils and herbs to fix my candles, and inscribe tea lights and votives. There is actually, I think, in what book? I mean, there's tons of books on it. Practical Candle Burning Rituals by Scott Cunningham. I don't have that book anymore. I have since given it away. But Practical Candle Burning Rituals tells you how to dress the candles. There's a specific way to do it. There's a specific way to do it. Do you do it that specific way, Naya? I'm curious. Allergic to incense. Yeah, everybody in my house is allergic to perfume but me. Yeah, Xanthia, that's how I feel about it too. It's my intent, and if I have a little bit of stuff to put around it, that kind of sucks my brain in, and it kind of gets me in the place that I need to get. And yeah, so that's why I do simple. Intent is the most important ingredient. Absolutely. So before you guys, if you have questions, pop them in there. I want to our friend Meg asked us some questions of course I'm breaking my phone right now. But our friend asked some questions, and oh, I didn't realize that was you. Hi, Meg. Awesome, cool. So Meg, I'm going to answer your questions. I'm glad you're here. Oh, thanks, Naya. Hey, girl. Hi. Now I can't find him. Seriously, I'm like the worst at technology. I don't know how to use any of it. Okay, cool. So the first thing you asked, in case you don't remember what you actually wrote, no. So the first thing Meg asked was, do you cleanse or otherwise deactivate the cards after you finish a spell before returning them to the deck, or after you've returned them to the deck? So I am the worst at magical, actual, any type of cleanup there is. I'm no good at it. So no, I don't. I do shuffle and knock the deck sometimes, but my cleanse is a good shuffle. And the two cards you saw me use today are from my Small Thoth deck, so that doesn't get used for divination in any way. It's purely a study deck. So I don't really clean those. Like I said, the hardy that I took out doesn't get used for divination, and those extra cards don't get used for divination. They're just specifically for focusing my attention and intention. Woohoo! Chat disappeared. Oh my god, that's so cool. Okay, so Xanthia says, I used to dress my candles by first making them from scratch. Then I add herbs, essential oils, and I let the wax set. I like making my own candles, but I haven't dressed candles in years. That's awesome. I have never tried to do that because I feel like it would be really, really messy. So Meg's other question is, do you leave them out to meditate on them? Yes. Meg, I will leave that on my altar for until the full moon. I won't always have the candle lit. I don't always light all of the candles that you see lit. Tonight, I just when I do the first, when I set the initial spell, I will have all of my altar candles lit. And then I will light this candle. I don't do it any type of routine. I try to do it like once a night, but it doesn't always happen because I'm terrible at it. But it does say set up the entire time. Oh yeah, okay. All right, so confusing the Megs. You guys are hilarious. Okay. I'm gonna get you guys like a Meg A and a Meg B name tag for the meetup. Or I'm gonna come up with different names for you before then. Okay, so these are Meg Watson's questions, um but anyway, it still works. So hopefully she'll either get to see it later or I'll answer them in the group. Ooh, bees. Hey Bella, how you doing? Beeswax sheets. That's a good idea too. And then like roll dry herbs in them or like oil. Cool. So, all right. So, since I answered a Meg's questions, any Meg, I'll take any Meg's questions right now. Anybody else's questions I can answer too. Let me know what you guys thought about this. Was it fun? Was it interesting? Do you have questions about what I do, or do you have questions about how you could do something? I don't know. Ask me anything. I like the beeswax idea. Do they sell that? Do you think they sell that at Michael's? I bet they sell it at Michael's in the candle making section. I'm gonna go check. A spell based on correspondences. I mean, that's pretty much what I did. That's pretty much what I did. I just use I just use small amounts of correspondences. Like, so what correspondences would you like to see, Darren? eBay's cheaper for the beeswax. Cool. Yeah, everything's cheaper on eBay. Thank you. My altar is ever evolving, but I think I finally gotten it to a place where I like it. Oh yeah, different colors. I was thinking that the beeswax sheets would be just like that beeswaxy color, but you can find everything on the internet. I don't know why I'm surprised. All right, so do you guys do this often? Is this something that you guys have done before using tarot in Spellwork, or what? What, I don't know. What are your experiences with this? Darren asked, what are the best correspondences to use for Spellwork? It's just up to you. It doesn't matter. You can pick whatever you like, whatever you jive with. So if runes are your thing, if astrology your thing, I know your thing is Kabbalah, you could use Hebrew and different Sephiroth associations. It's whatever you like. Heather says, I seriously need a good curse breaking, abundance pouring spell to focus the intention. Yeah, I could look some stuff up for you, Heather, and send them. Some things along those lines, and give you some ideas. Exanthia says, your altar is 4 layers. How does that work? I thought I was cool because I had that little shadow box. Bella says, I grew up in the craft and I'm 50 now. So learned a lot over the years. That's really cool. I always find people that have grown up doing this stuff. I had to learn so much of it on my own. I mean, I used to practice with some people. They're actually cousins, so they're very close to my family. I used to I used to practice with some people, and I don't anymore. I mean, we still see each other. We're still sisters, if you want to call it that, whatever. But we don't regularly meet anymore, just because we all kind of moved away and then came back, and then it was, whatever. Um, but two of them grew up in learning this kind of stuff, and I didn't. I grew up Catholic, so this is all kind of, I mean, it's not new. I've been doing it for 25 years, but um it's not new, but it's not ingrained. And it's funny because my son is now growing up um where calling mommy a witch is commonplace, and he uh, picks up the star around my neck and says Babylon. It's Babylon's star. So he knows, he knows these things already, and it's going to be cool to see him grow up with it. Xanthia says, never used tarot for spell work until I got the modern spellcaster's tarot, and I used some from the guidebook, but mostly do African spell work. That's really cool. Modern spellcasters, I think that's the one with my favorite wheel, because it's got the wheel of the year, it's got the Wiccan wheel of the year, which I'm not Wiccan, but I do love that image. I thought it was really, really cool. Naya says, Darren, figure your intention first and use correspondences. Yeah, that's exactly what I do. I do it just like that, Naya. And that's the way I found, well, it's actually the most fun for me to do that way because I get to do research instead of just aimlessly looking through books. Grew up in no religion, but my parents did use tarot, pendulum, and did seances. That's freaking cool. My parents went to church. A strega. That's very cool too. So I'm Italian, and so I briefly studied the strega path for a little bit. But when I first started studying, there wasn't a ton of books, and I think I kind of fell off. And I haven't thought about it in a really long time, but I bet you there's a lot more information out there now. I always kind of equated being Strega as like kitchen witchery, which is what I usually call myself, as a kitchen witch. So more practical witchcraft than religious-based witchcraft, if that makes sense. You were the weird people in the neighborhood. Very cool, Bella. What part of Italy are you guys from? Well, I think those are all of the things I thought to talk about. We went through the why, the when, the how, and what to do, and putting it all together. So as always, you guys can find me and ask me questions if you have any. If you think of any topics, tarot-based topics like this that you want to see again, or if you want to see me do this again on the full moon to see what I would do and how my spell would change from now to then, we can do that too. Meg asks, how long do you leave your altar set up for a particular spell? So the altar that you saw is up all of the time. The spell is only up during, I'll usually do it for like a couple of weeks before the full moon. So if I'm doing a new moon spell, it'll sit up for like, it'll sit up for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, depends on how long. Sometimes I'll take it down because I feel like it's run its course. Sometimes I'll leave it right up to the full moon and then just change things out at that time. So it depends. I like the alien head, Heather. That's great. All religions, philosophies, and theology. Yeah, you guys grew up in an interesting household. That is definitely sure. That is definitely true. All right. So I think that's it. If you guys have questions, let me know. And if you have ideas, let me know. That's okay. Pups are important. Positano, that's cool. We're all from Sicily. Change the top one. You really got to show me the layers. I'm really interested in the layers of the oh, I'm getting clawed. The layers of the altar. That sounds so cool. My the Babylon section of my altar stays up all the time. And I changed out different things, but the part that's inset under the skulls, the part that's inset that you saw under the skulls stays always there. I have my lust card. I have my I've got carnelian, I've got lapis, and I've got jasper, because those are her 3 stones. I do sometimes have pearls, but it's only when I'm doing offering or specific offerings I use the pearls. But those, and then the main altar candles, they stay up all the time. I kind of move around the crystals on the front of it, and I made it inset into that box so that I could have the main part of the altar to actually do work on, or set up tribute, or set up spells. So and then it's just covered with a black scarf. A lot of work. That's really cool. Do you write your spells down? Do you have a spell book for reoccurring spells? No, Naya, I don't write anything down. I'm the worst at keeping track of things. I have books from when I was younger. When I started out, I copied spells out of different books that I was reading about witchcraft. But then as I kind of grew up and older and whatever you want to call it, I kind of decided that I really like just crafting my own things like this. And so that's why I do it the way I do it now. I like to be a nerd about it, and I like to look up things. Yeah, Xanthia says my spells are my own. I just throw them together. Me too. I don't I've been doing this one almost every new moon, with the exception of the last few months, for a while. So all of the stuff is kind of there, but I don't write them down. If I were a better writer, like you should write like rhymes and stuff for your spells, because you're amazing at coming up with that stuff. I'm not, so I don't do that. But if I were to do that, I would write those things down. One day I'll show off my my old high school spell books. They're really funny. All right. Anybody got anything else? I can dance while you guys are waiting, while you guys are typing. If not, we're almost at an hour, so I think that's a pretty good live stream for tonight. Pajama time. To be fair, I'm half in my pajamas. You guys just can't see that half of me. Yeah, I don't think you really missed much. I think you came in. I had just gotten through a couple of things. I'm glad you were able to join. You guys are fun. And super interesting too. Holy cow. All right, cool guys. I think I'm gonna head out. Oh, Heather, you got to come and hang out in the live streams. It's so much fun. And I'm glad that you came too, because I don't get to see you often enough. And, you know, if you want to meet some crazy people that I know, hang out. Naya, I don't log them, no. Xanthia, I cannot grow things. I tried. I kill plants. My husband's the gardener, so he does all that stuff. I'm no good at it. I inherited my mom's black thumb. Oh, I'm so glad you guys liked this. This was fun. I will see you guys next time. Next time. Bye.